third area, which has not been discussed that much, and you don't hear that much about it, but it's very, very important, is something called liveware. And liveware is you, the teacher, the tutor, on the course, and how you manage online interaction between participants, between yourself and participants, and among the participants themselves. Because online communication is different than face-to-face regular classroom communication, and those who aren't aware of this and don't know how to tap into this engage in online teaching at their peril. In fact, one of the things I learned a long time ago is that the rate of attrition, that means of dropout of online courses, is extremely high, and often looking at the reasons why people drop out, sometimes it is to do with the liveware, that they feel kind of isolated, they don't feel connected. And in this world of Web 2.0, we certainly have the ability, and we're learning more and more about how to create a sort of social community online, not just within the classroom. Okay, let's go on to the next slide here. Go a little bit more in depth. Okay, this one I can do quite quickly. Again, you might want to move or minimize your audio thing here. Tanya, they can do that, right? If they minimize the audio thing?
Absolutely. The way they would do that would be by clicking on the arrow up on the tab of their control panel.
Okay, yeah, so you can hide that control panel. Anyway, what we are developing for the hardware here are some things that we would think would be necessary, and they're pretty obvious for you to get started on any online teaching that you would want to do. Obviously, a computer, so desktop, laptop, or whatever. Even tablet computers can be used for this now. You need an internet connection. Broadband is rapidly spreading around the world, so I don't even know anyone who has dial-up access anymore. A webcam, although I would say it's kind of optional. Microphone speakers and a headset. One thing I've learned is that USB headsets are worth the extra money to invest in them because they'll give you a far better sound. And finally, optional, a digital camera. We often talk about lots of activities now to do with cameras and taking photos and so on. Still, most of these things do come integrated now with the computer itself. I mean, I'm working on a computer now that doesn't have the webcam but has everything else integrated into it. Can we go on to the next slide?
Yep.
Okay, I think I was going to do this slide, right, Lindsay?
That's right.
Okay, so basically we've looked at the first ingredient there with Lindsay, which was the hardware, and now we're looking at the second main ingredient, which is software. So the programs, really, that you can use to help you deliver a course online, a language course, or really any kind of course. In the middle box there, you'll see the sort of the big tools, what I think of as the kind of the tools that you could use to deliver your course, right? So course site tools is what we call them. The first one is VLE, so that stands for Virtual Learning Environments, and probably the most famous virtual learning environment is, and this is where you can type quickly into your chat box, so I can check that everybody's still here and you haven't gone off to have a cup of coffee, that you're listening. So what's the best known VLE in your opinion? Tell me if anybody's typing, let me know what they
People
say.
are typing. We've got Blackboard, Moodle, Second Life, Moodle, lots of Moodles, oodles of Moodles.
Great. Okay, Moodle's probably becoming, or is already, one of the best known ones. There's Blackboard, as somebody said, which there used to be one called WebCT, which is combined with Blackboard now. And there's another open source one, like Moodle, open source, called Sakai. That's also becoming popular. Great. Okay, so the VLE basically is a sort of a place or a platform where you've got all sorts of tools together. You've got email, you've got forums, wikis, blogs, chat, all sorts of stuff in one place. Okay, under that we've got social networking sites, so you can use some of these to deliver your course. And again, they may have forums and blogs and so on. They have fewer or more depending on the platform. One of the best known ones is Ning for delivering courses. Ning, as you all know, used to be free and then suddenly became paid for, and there was a bit of a revolution in the online world about that. People got very upset. And this, of course, does happen. When tools are free, there's no guarantee that they always will be. Okay, the third one, there's a wiki. You can use a wiki as a course platform. A wiki obviously is best for collaborative writing type tasks online, but you can also set static web pages as in a wiki, and it's a colleague of mine refers to the wiki as kind of the poor man's VLE. You can set it up so that it has resources and so on. Okay, and then the last point there is discussion groups. So they were talking about Google Groups or Yahoo Groups. Obviously the very low-end type of course delivery mechanism, mainly synchronous, mainly forum-based, although you have places you can upload images and documents and so on. But in order of preference, I think we would start with a VLE, and then we would end up with a discussion group as the kind of the least sophisticated option. And then
Nicky?
Around yes, please.
Oh, so can I just share a couple things that other people have just typed in? I know that you're happy for some interaction.
Yes.
We also have Desire to Learn, someone is suggesting. We have WizIQ and Grouply. Are you familiar with any of those?
Yes, WizIQ is a synchronous platform, so it's a bit like this one that we're using at the moment, where you can do talking and so on. Grouply, I think, has become the choice after Ning, now that everybody deserted Ning en masse once they had to pay. A lot of people moved over to Grouply, so it's another kind of social networking sort of site. And the other one, Desire to Learn, I don't know. I've heard of it, but I haven't checked it out. But thank you for those people who've contributed that.
Okay.
Okay, if we look at the sort of software around the main square there in the middle, starting on the top left, we've got blogs, and then going clockwise, we've got chatware, concordant sites, and so on. And you've probably noticed that's all very cleverly arranged in alphabetical order. You go all the way around, and you end up with word clouds. Okay, so loads of free software programs, web-based programs or tools that you can use in your course delivery, and clearly they do different things. So an online music player is for listening to music, you know, sound recorders are for recording and so on. The trick is, of course, as a course provider or as somebody who's teaching online, is to have a good idea of what's available, what these different things do, and to be able to kind of pick and choose and bring them into your course delivery in meaningful ways. So it's a matter of finding the task that you want to do with your students and then picking the right tool to deliver it. Okay, I think we need to be careful about not just using technology for technology's sake. Anyway, just very quickly to check that everybody is still listening. Of all of those tools there that you've got around on the side, which is the one that you are least familiar with? One or two that you are less familiar with? If you could just type that in for Tanya.
Least familiar with or most familiar with? Least.
The ones that you don't know.
Okay.
Ones that you may not be sure what they are, even. Of course, the fact that most of you are online attending this webinar suggests you probably know them all, but if there are any you're not quite sure what it is or what it does.
Okay, we've got concordance sites. Quite a lot of people are saying the concordance sites, guest maps, concordance. Concordance is coming up a lot.
Okay, I'll just quickly describe that one. I certainly don't want to go through all of these tools, so we'll just pick concordancing, which is,
Can I just also add guest maps, because that's coming up a lot too. Guest maps and concordance seems to be coming up the most.
Great. Okay, we're going to actually do an activity with and talk about guest maps in a little bit more detail in a minute. So let me just quickly describe concordancing. Basically, a corpora is a kind of a body of language that has been put online. It's taken from the real world. It's from either written sources or from spoken sources. It's all put into a computer, and then it's collated, and you can basically search it. The software that you use to search this body of language is called a concordancer. One of the best known ones is the British National Corpus. There are a couple more. I'm reaching for a copy of our book so I can remember which ones we recommended. Lindsay, could you check that for me while I carry on?